All right, hey everybody, I am going to do just a quick tutorial on using Tableau to do some data visualizations for our partner case study here using their COVID data. So first thing you want to do is access Tableau. We have a number of applications that you can access through Citrix on campus. They're a little bit slow and they look grainy, but they work just as well as the desktop software does. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Citrix apps.oswego.edu. And when you go there, it's going to ask for your login information. Let's see if I can get this right the first time. Yay. All right, so we're going to log in. And when we log into Citrix, we're going to see some apps on the home page, but this is only the most commonly used. So we're going to go to apps so we can get the full list of programs you have available to you. I'm going to scroll down and we're going to go over here to Tableau and open up Tableau. Now I'm going to pull up while this is coming up. I am going to share a different document with you. I want to show you 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to pull this up. So what I did was you go to the Department of Health Sparks data set. So this is basically the repository of a lot of the same information that we're using for certificate of need. It doesn't have some key information in there like zip code and a few other variables that we need for our project. So we can't get the, the data that we use for certificate of need from that site, but there's a lot of great information out there. So we can specifically look at these COVID numbers by county. So what I did to get this data is I downloaded it all, I created a pivot table, and then I just used some filters to get the information I need. So here I'm going to be comparing Oswego to Onondaga. And what I did in order to put this in a format that's easily readable by Tableau is you got to have good titles and have things organized. You could do this in a few different ways. This is just how I've done it. So we've got month here, November, December, January. Then we've got Oswego, test performed, test per capita, all these pieces here. And we've got the same information for Onondaga over here. All right, so we're going to go back over to Tableau and we're going to upload this. So one of the pieces when we're using Citrix to upload documents is it's not connecting right to our desktop. So we're going to go up to this little, those 3 lines there. It's going to open this. If we click on that, we're going to go to upload. And here is where I can go through and I'm going to select my COVID data by county. And I'm going to say, okay, we want to upload this document and I'm going to upload it to the desktop and hit okay. Again, this is not super snappy, but it works. So once that stops spinning, I'm going to know that the document has been uploaded. And then the next thing I want to do within this Tableau workbook is I'm going to go down and I'm going to say, okay, well, I want to connect to a Microsoft Excel file. And then we're going to pull that right from here, the desktop. So we can see that it's there. We're going to go in here and open that up. All right, and it's still spinning, but it's in there. So the first thing I want to do is sometimes it'll give you some information over here. It's going to ask you about the sheet. We're not really concerned about the data source information. We want to go over here to this first sheet. This is basically the workspace where we can drag and drop different things. And I will note that while you're doing the visualizations, whether it's for the case study or for the final project, please feel free to use Power BI if you have access to that tool. I know some of you do through your employers. You can use Excel. I think the way I'm going to be looking at it today is not all that different from Excel, but I just want to get you exposure to Tableau so that you can understand what this different visualization program looks like. It's very similar to Pivot Table in terms of you're going to drag and drop the different variables into different sections. You can click on different ways to view it. Again, this functionality exists in Excel. There's actually an option for doing different graphs with the pivot tables that's set up somewhat similarly. But again, we're going to be using Tableau in a couple different places within the course and also using either Tableau or Power BI for data visualization. Having this experience is really important for a number of health systems, different organizations. It's very common to look for this skill set or for you to have some exposure to it. So that's why we're doing it in this. So first thing I want to do is I want to try to think about what's important to look at. And when you're starting this, very similarly with the pivot tables, is you can look at this in 1,000 different ways. Some of them are going to make sense. A lot of them aren't. You're just going to move stuff around until you find something that's meaningful to you. So what I'm going to do first though is I want to look at the data by month. So I'm going to take this month, I'm going to pull it up here into the column section because I want to kind of sort things by column. Again, similar to our pivot tables, there's a little drop down on here. I can see that when I pull month up, it actually is thinking that I want to look at this by year. So I'm going to click on this little drop down and I'm going to go down and say, no, I actually want to look at this by month. It's saying, okay, all right, you're ready to look at things by month. Just tell me what to look at. So let's see. Let's see, what do we want to do first? We could look at a comparison of percent positive between counties. So I'm going to pull up Oswego percent positive, and let's pull over Onondaga percent positive. So right off the bat, it's going to say, hey, we want to use this line graph to compare this data, and this is how it's going to look for us. And I can go in here and I can give this a new title to say percent positive. I'm not going to do that yet because I want to play around with it just a little bit to really figure out what I want to do here. So doing this, we can go and we can click on a few of these different visualizations over here on the right-hand side. Just know that sometimes, depending on what we click on over here, it's going to move stuff around up here. So we might need to come back and fix it if we click on something that doesn't make sense. So let's see what we do if we do a comparison bar chart side by side. So we do that. This is actually, this from my standpoint makes a lot of sense. We want to look at these comparisons visually between the two counties, and we want to look at them across months. So here we could say, okay, this is going to be percent positive by month, by county. Okay, that's going to give us our title. Well, we've got this information down here. So when we're looking at this, just like I'm asking you in the case study, we want to do a little bit of a comparison. So we're seeing, okay, our percent positive, we're seeing in Oswego is actually higher than Onondaga. It's interesting. Okay, so why might we be seeing this? And again, this is a little odd here because it's putting January over here on the left-hand side, thinking that it's coming first, even though it's a different year. But not to worry, we're getting the breakdown by month, so that's okay. So one of the other things we might want to do is we want to say, okay, this makes sense. I like this graph. I like this comparison. I want to do another. So what we do is we go down here, we can add a new worksheet and we can start to move stuff around. So if I look at this and I'm saying, okay, I see percent positive is higher in Oswego, but I want to understand a little bit more about what's going on here. Is it that they were just hit harder, or are they testing more per capita? So I'm going to come over to this sheet. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to bring up month again. Here, I don't want year, I want it by month. Go down to month. Okay, now it's just saying, okay, we're ready. What do you want to look at? So let's say we want to look at, let's say test per capita. Let's check out what that looks like. So we're going to pull this over right here. And that is Oswego test per capita. So we want to do Onondaga test per capita as well. And we're looking at that. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Do any of these ones make sense? No, side by side that way doesn't really do what we want. How about stacked? That doesn't really tell us a whole lot. All right, this one's interesting. Onondaga, it's just giving us Onondaga by month, so it pulled the other one out. So let's go back. So here it pulled out Oswego. Thought, no, we don't want that yet, but we want to pull that back up. Let's go over here and just again, do just a side by side. And again, with visualization, we want to make things as easy to understand at a glance as possible. We are visual creatures. We understand things visually more so than we do by text or auditory. So again, the power of visualization is how would you create a dashboard to at a glance help people understand what's going on here. So let's see, when we're looking at this, I kind of want to switch these around though, because I want to make sure that Oswego and Onondaga, let's see if they're in the same position as they were before. No, they're switched here. Okay, so we want Onondaga to go over here. Oh, whoops, I lost it. No, let's go back. So we want, let's take measure names out. We can just throw stuff back over there. Let's take that row out again. Let's say we want this by month. It is okay. So we want to look at Onondaga test per capita and compare that to Oswego test per capita. All right, and again, I put it in a different format. Let's go over here and do side by side again. Okay, so we see, let's just make sure. Okay, so they're in the same setup. So we got Onondaga on the left and Oswego on the right. We can go through here, we can edit colors. So we can say we want to use the blue and the orange. Let's select this. Onondaga, and then I think Oswego was blue. I'm not sure, but let's see how that looks. And I'm gonna hit OK. Oh, nope, I got them backwards. All right, so I'm gonna go back and do color, edit colors. Onondaga should be blue, Oswego should be orange. I'm gonna hit apply, okay. All right, so now when we look at this, we've got, we're visually looking at the data in a similar way. We've got Onondaga and Oswego. So if we were looking at these, next to each other, right above one another, we can see that here, test per capita in Onondaga was actually higher than it was in Oswego. So that's interesting. So Onondaga is testing more, but they are seeing lower values. So this is a first indication to us that maybe there is something that was happening in Oswego that was significantly different than what was happening in Onondaga during these 3 months. So I want you to do this. Again, you should be also including New York State in here. So you can use this as, just as a teaser if you want to do something similar and see how it shakes out for your counties. Then try adding in New York State and then play around and see if there are a couple different visualizations. Again, you're coming up with 3 here for the case study. Just a few different ways to look at this data. Again, the key is how are you setting this up so it is very clear to at a glance tell the same story that you're including in your discussion for this case study, right? So again, it's just practice with, we're developing dashboards for KPIs for whatever it is that we're looking at a county or a health system level that we want to drive that point home, and that is how I will be grading this assignment. So again, as always, if you have questions as you're going through and trying to play with Tableau, let me know. But just like with the pivot tables, it just takes a little bit of practice and playing around with before you get comfortable with using it. There's some great tutorials too on YouTube if you want to look at how to view things in some different ways. Again, we'll be using Tableau in the final presentation for the Certificate of Need project. So this is just a little bit of a teaser to help support you as you think about how you might visualize your data for the final course project. Thank you, and I will talk to y'all soon.